Hello, I'm Anna Marie Robertson, and I'm a candidate for the Masters of Educational Technology degree and an online teaching certificate at Boise State University. I am currently an online mathematics teacher for Richard McKenna Charter High School in Idaho. I've held this position since 2000. I've seen many changes in the online realm of education over these years. Many people think that once you create an online course and put it online, that you're done. But I have the experience to tell you that this is not true. My courses are constantly changing and evolving to incorporate new technologies. This is what brought me to the EdTech program at Boise State. In this, my EdTech Portfolio video, I have highlighted 4 of the most meaningful projects I worked on during my journey through this master's degree. These are all projects I have incorporated into my teaching with successful results. In EdTech 506, Instructional Message Design, I worked with the properties of design itself. Design has always been my weak spot. I truly struggle with design. I know what I like when I look at the work of others, and I can even tell you why I like it. But to create something by myself out of thin air is like putting together a big puzzle for me. Maybe that's why I was so excited when my final project came together so well. As I worked through this course and applied each individual concept, such as typography, shape, graphic organizer, CARP, figure and ground, color and depth, organization and hierarchy, and color and shape, I was able to see all of the parts come together into one complete gestalt. I had created an entire fractions unit for my students who struggle with fractions. This project has become a valuable part of on-demand instruction in my courses. And as you see here, there are several areas that I included in this unit. Fractions as decimals, multiplying and simplifying, multiplying mixed numbers, improper fractions, and so on. I can click on any one of these and it will take me into the tutorial for that section. Then there's a menu on the right-hand side that will take me back. So a student can easily jump to any concept with fractions that they need to learn about, and then learn about that fraction tutorial, and then jump back to the main menu with ease. In EdTech 511, Interactive Courseware Design, I felt like I was in my element. I worked entirely in Flash to create a tutorial for my students. I've used an older version of Flash before and was well acquainted with its structure. But again, I was exposed to how a student might feel when faced with using a new software to create a project, when I had to download the newest version of Flash. Who knew a software could change so much between versions? For this project, I took a lesson from one of my courses that students notoriously stumble on and created a short tutorial with very few words that they could use to help cement the concept of front-end estimation. I've since embedded this tutorial into the online lesson and have seen a big jump in student understanding. Wow, I was amazed that one Flash-based interactive activity could make so much difference. It makes me want to redo all of my lessons. I later participated in EdTech 532 Games and Simulations. This class was also taught totally in the realm of Second Life. I have never had so much fun while learning in all my life. All we did was play games. There were online games, board games, and even a very big role-playing game that encompassed our entire Second Life meeting space and all of my peers. I have never played in a role-play before. It was the most intense feeling describable, and being able to put all of my feelings down in a blog at the time I was feeling them was an amazing experience. Prior to this, I had never blogged before. I can now see the importance of allowing a student the time to reflect when a project or game is over, and for allowing them to share their reflection with others. While I was involved in EdTech 532 Games and Simulations, I was also asked to teach a series of technology courses at a local alternative school. I decided to test this theory of game-based learning on these students. I created 3 online courses that the students worked through using the concepts of game-based learning. They were allowed to choose the activities they wanted to participate in based on their own interests. And these are the 3 courses that I created. First, there was the computer apps course, then there was the multimedia training course, and then there was the web design training course. And in each of these courses, the students were on a starship and different things were happening to them depending upon which course they were in. But in each course there were a group of quests that they could choose from, and when they went into one of these quests, they would find a large amount of activities they could choose from based on what they wanted to learn. And this gave me the information I needed for my EdTech 532 games and simulation research that I did for this class. While taking these classes, these students experienced leveling up, competition, earning badges, and the feeling of accomplishment that accompanies the creation of one's own projects and sharing them collaboratively. And here you can see the Google spreadsheet I used to keep track of their points and their rank, where they were, and they could also see each other's. I didn't use any names for these students. I used their student number, so only they knew which one they were. And they could compare themselves to the other students in the class, thus causing competition between them. And they could also see which quests they were missing, which ones they might want to work on, and the scores that they earned for each quest. Their total XP, their percentage in the course, and the total XP for winning the game. This leveling up system seemed to work very well for us. It was just a Google Doc that was embedded into our Google site. Towards the end of the Games and Simulations course, I was introduced to one of Boise State's newest creations, the 3D Game Lab. We weren't able to use the newest version of it in the context of our course because it was in the final stages of construction, but I was able to be one of the original beta testers for it during the summer following my course. That beta test gave me the opportunity to have my own space within its shell for my students. As luck would have it, or maybe it was Providence, things began to fall together quickly for me following my experience with 3D Game Lab. As I entered my last semester of actual coursework at BSU, I still had to take EdTech 512, Online Course Design. I am forever grateful that I left that course for last. In this course, I was tasked with creating an entire online course from start to finish. I felt ready. I had the theory behind me, I had the experiences of many different types of projects, and I had experienced game-based learning. I felt so ready for this. At the beginning of this semester, my boss from Richard McKenna Charter High School, Larry Slade, called me and asked if I had time to create 2 new courses for use at the school. The Idaho State Legislature had passed a law stating that all high school seniors, starting with the graduating class of 2013, must have 6 mathematics credits beginning with algebra to graduate, and they must take 2 of those credits during their senior year. They also wrote into that law that a senior that was not necessarily college-bound could take a math course called Mathematics of Personal Finance in their senior year. This course would consist of 2 parts. My boss had called me to ask me to create these courses. His timing was incredible. So as I worked through all the theory and project management tasks in EdTech 512, I used the actual Mathematics of Personal Finance course for all of my work. However, I wasn't able to complete the entire course by the end of 512, so I applied to Boise State for an independent study course during my last semester to take concurrently with my portfolio course, in which I would be allowed to complete the first of the 2 Mathematics of Personal Finance courses all the way through to deployment and evaluation. At the end of my EdTech 512 course, my final project was the Mathematics of Personal Finance course for Richard McKenna Charter High School. And I wanted to take a minute at the end of my portfolio to just give you a brief look through of this course that I created. This course, the Mathematics of Personal Finance, was created in the Google Apps account of Richard McKenna so that only the students would be able to access this course. In this course, I created several areas. There's the course information, the contact information, the syllabus, the schedule, the assignments, the discussions area, and a link to the 3D Game Lab. In the assignments area, I created this so that students had a link to the game lab, but they also had links to the assignments so they could see all of them if they so wished to do so. Let's take a look at one in particular. If we go into a section such as the Develop a Career Plan into Module 2, you'll see that there are several quests, if you will, or actually these turned out to be quest chains in 3D Game Lab. Each one of these, I was able to develop several quests around each topic. One thing in particular that I did learn through my master's degree at Boise State was that examples are so important for students. I know that when I had a class where I was given an example of what I was to create, it was so much easier for me to create than if I didn't have an example. So I made sure to include examples of what I was asking the students to do. For instance, they have an example of what their website could look like, and then they have example pages that show them what their projects also could look like. They're not bound to make their projects exactly like this, but it's an example of what they could do. The other thing I wanted to show was the discussions page. I had a difficult time figuring out how I was going to incorporate discussions into a Google site, but I learned that there's something called the Google Groups, and the Google Groups were very easy to embed on a page into my Google site. So here's my Google Groups discussion forum, and I've embedded it on this page in my Google site. And these are each of the discussions that the students will participate in right here in one place. And I think this is going to make it much easier to have the discussion area built right into the site itself. Now from here we can jump to 3D Game Lab. I already have it open, so I'm going to go up here and open it because it took a second to load. So in 3D Game Lab I have my list of quests and so on. I'm currently working on the first of these two courses, and I'm designing it in this realm of 3D Game Lab. This course is game-based, and it provides the elements of choice, competition, levels, badges. Let me give you a look at the badges. If I click on rewards, you can see all of the badges and the achievements and the just fun rewards down there at the bottom. And everything else that I've built into this goes along with the game-based concepts. I'm really having a blast creating this course, but more than that, my actual pedagogical thinking about the linearity of learning is evolving and changing, and I have had so much fun putting this portfolio together and working through each of these courses at Boise State. Thank you. Well, you've come to the end of my portfolio video, and I've come to the end of my master's degree. I believe I've met my goal of adapting my pedagogical thinking to be more in line with the new theories of learning that have embraced the emerging technologies. My new goal is to find a way to keep caught up with all of this. I believe I can do this with the help of professional development currently being offered by Boise State University, and through carefully selected personal learning networks. But most of all, I believe I can realize this goal by using what I've learned in the redesign of my online courses to make them more engaging, experiential, interactive, and just plain fun for my students. There's no better teacher than experience itself. Thank you for watching my EdTech Portfolio Reflection video.